Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to my Game Week 23 team selection video. I'm recording this on the 22nd of January. Liverpool's Champions League game took place yesterday. The main pod is only going to be on Friday. There are a lot of price changes that are projected to be happening today with the likes of Gakpo and maybe even Konate potentially going up. So I wanted to get this video out in case you guys need any help with your decisions or any food for thought. So let's jump right into it. First, a look back at my Game Week 22 score. I got 55 points, the main contributors being in defense really, Henderson, Alexander, Arnold and Robinson. Nobody in the midfield got a return, but my transfer for the week was Jackson to Chris Wood, and that paid off. I think it's the first time this season the transfer I've made has been the highest scorer for that week. The rank has also improved over the last couple of weeks, now in the top 1 million finally for the first time this season at about 917k. Have to make some ground over the next few weeks. So I need to be quite decisive and potentially take some risks with my next few moves. So I'll talk more about my team in detail, but let's talk first now about the upcoming schedule that's coming. Now this is the fixture difficulty till game week 30. I've taken this longer period because from listening to the latest chip strategy pod by Planet FPL, I don't think many of us are going to be free hitting in 29. So I think the game week 30 fixtures becomes a bit more relevant. After that, there's a potential wildcard in play. So Liverpool are right on top, and you have to keep in mind they might have a blank in 29. If they progress in the Carabao Cup, they play Villa that week. Palace are the other team we expect to blank in 29 if Newcastle go through. If Arsenal go through, then we're looking at Chelsea potentially blanking, who are their opponents in 29. Tottenham going through would cause Fulham to blank, but I think that probability given Spurs form seems the unlikeliest as of now. So just have a look at the fixtures. Is Liverpool, Palace, Everton, then Brentford. And just have a read at Fulham's fixtures as well, because I think it's important as a Robinson owner. I want to talk about that a little bit. It's Manchester United, Newcastle, Forest, Palace, Wolves, Brighton, Tottenham, and Arsenal. Now, this is a watch list now with the players I think that are on my mind for double game week 24 specifically. I don't know why Bowen made it there. Apologies, I deleted that, but it somehow just cropped up. Allison and Pickford, I think, obviously are the two goalkeeper options. With Allison, 5.5 million for a goalkeeper does feel like a lot, but if you're looking to move out of, let's say, a Raya, you don't really have to spend more. I like that option then, but do keep in mind you will actually need a second playing keeper. So if you have somebody like Fabianski in 29, you could potentially look at that, but I don't know. Fabianski will definitely be in goal. It could be Areola by 29, but as of now, does look like a safe move. Pickford obviously is another option if you need to save some money. With Pickford, you also get the confirmed fixture in 29. Everton are home to West Ham that week, but will Moyes be as astute defensively as Dyche was? He might have to prioritize attack a little bit, and the fixtures approaching 29 aren't really good, the other side of the double. So I'm not that big on Pickford as such. Trent, I think, is the obvious second best Liverpool pick. You guys don't need me to tell much about Trent. Konate now is an interesting one. The latest comments indicate that he's been playing with painkillers recently, and now there are a lot of fixtures. If you get a Liverpool defender now, you likely want to keep them till game week 30, and will he last till then with his injury worries? It concerns me a little bit, but the price point is quite accessible at 5.2, more so than a Van Dijk. So Van Dijk has only one goal so far this season. You expect him to get around 3 to 4 every year, so you might get a goal in the double. And leading up to game week 30, there's some very good fixtures. Just a very set and forget. But if you're going for, let's say, a Trent, Van Dijk, and a Gabriel, it feels like too much money in defense. Mykolenko, I'll talk about Everton's new shape. Everton are playing in a back three now. Mykolenko gets a bit more license to go forward. Again, spending a transfer on him doesn't really seem very wise considering Everton's fixtures after 24. But if you have him, you obviously play him in that week. Salah, again, not much needs to be said. An attack is between Luis Diaz and Gakpo. We'll talk about that a little bit. As of now, I think Gakpo has the edge because the bonus points seem so much better for the forwards. And in general, the number 9 doesn't seem to be getting as many chances as somebody like the left winger does. Even Diaz, when he plays on the left, I think he's a bit more effective than he is in the center. And with Jota's injury concerns now, I'm not sure how much of a factor he will be, at least in the short term, up to 25, 26. After that, you never really know whether he can stay fit. I know DCL is a bit of a polarizing pick. As soon as a lot of people see DCL there, they're going to turn this video off. But hear me out, and I will talk about Everton's new change of shape. And I'm looking at DCL primarily as your 8th attacker, not somebody you're going to have to play every week. Now, it's also important to keep the schedule in mind for Liverpool. It's a bit of a strange one. So they just played the Champions League against Lille. They'll be playing game week 23 against Ipswich. Then they're already safe in the Champions League spot. They've already, I think, guaranteed first or second. So before game week 24 against Bournemouth, they have a bit of a dead rubber Champions League game, and you will very much expect him to go very strong against Bournemouth. As you saw against Newcastle, Bournemouth are a very good team, so you will very much see Liverpool's first choice team over there. He'll not take that fixture lightly. Right after that, in 3 days, they play Spurs at home where they're 1-0 down. They look to overturn that, so again, play strong. Then they play Plymouth away in the FA Cup. So that again is an advantage, right? You don't have to really worry about that so much. He's going to rotate a lot of players. And then you see that's where the Everton fixture has been provisionally scheduled. I think it will be confirmed now after yesterday. So then they have the double, and then 3 days after that, they have Wolves. So it is quite feasible because of the Plymouth fixture being there that you have the first choice team play against Everton and against Wolves. So the spacing actually works out in our favour with the Champions League stuff in mind. With Everton, it doesn't really matter as much. I don't think Moyes will really rotate. Now, this is what happened last night with Liverpool versus Lille. We saw Gakpo miss out entirely. He played 0 minutes. Nunes started as centre forward, played the entire 90. Trent was benched as well. He came on for the last few minutes. Chiesa came on for Diaz the last 15. Apart from that, you see most of the first team guys benched. Your McAllister was benched. Gravenberch still started. I think he played only 45 minutes, which is probably a good thing. So the chances of Gakpo starting on the weekend now, I'd say, are very, very high, unless he picks up an injury or a knock of some sort by then. So if you want to go early on Gakpo, maybe it's an exact cash move, you could potentially do that today. But if you can still afford it, keep in mind that Liverpool are the first kickoff on 3 p.m. There's no early kickoff that day, so it's very likely we will get some sort of lineup leak for Gakpo starting. But given this benching, you have to say that he is going to start anyway. Now, this is why I think the main question I want to tackle in this video is Liverpool. Do you go on them this week or do you go on them in 24? Now, what do you gain by going in 24? In 24, you get basically extra information. You look at the guys who are benched in that last Champions League game, which is a dead rubber, and whether they should start on the weekend, which, again, given what happened yesterday, given the Bournemouth fixtures difficulty, you'd have to expect there is going to be a Gakpo, Diaz, Salah front three. He's not going to go any other way against Bournemouth. So, what are you really gaining as such? Information, maybe some players get injured, etc., etc. But look at those goal scoring odds for Liverpool this week, 3.4. That's very, very high. It's one of the highest for this season, I'm sure. Now compare that to somebody like a Joao Pedro, who I'm looking to sell for Gakpo. He has a goal odds of 1.8. So Liverpool are nearly double. That's why I like the idea of attacking them this week. Even clean sheet odds, they're far and away the highest with 52%. Some of the other teams to look at this week, obviously Tottenham, no one's going there. Newcastle, Man City. And again, we talk about captaincy. I think Salah is just a no-brainer this week. You're not going to look apart from that. Just a quick plug for Sleeper. Again, you guys don't need me to tell you guys about it every video. Just get playing in our Pick'em League. The QR codes are there on the screen. Just have a look at some of the odds this week. Again, Liverpool, 91%. Overwhelming favorites. Newcastle, Arsenal, Spurs and Villa, the others. Fulham, Man United is projected to be pretty close. City, Chelsea, I'm leaning towards a City win over there. Palace, Brentford, it looks very much a home slate this week apart from Newcastle and Arsenal, doesn't it? Should be interesting with away teams profiting last week. So this is where I am currently. I have 1.4 million in the bank, 2 free transfers. Henderson in goal, Trent, Gabriel and Robinson. Salah cap, Bumo, Gordon, Palmer, Wood, Joao Pedro and Isak, with Sarr, Mikalenko and Greaves on the bench. It's a close decision between Joao Pedro and Sarr, but I think Pedro with penalties just edges it. You can argue that maybe Sarr has an easier fixture, but I think Pedro now playing the preferred number 10 position. I like him just a bit more than Sarr. So again, wanted to discuss some of the fixtures now with you guys. Again, Liverpool, the advantage is, right, if you get somebody in defense, you're guaranteed pretty much going to use them till 30. You get 23 Ipswich at home, 24 double, 25 Wolves, 26 you probably bench one of your defenders. You play Trent, maybe bench Van Dijk or play Van Dijk. Konate is a bit benchable. 27 Newcastle at home, 28 Southampton at home, 29 is a blank and 30th Everton at home. So you will fancy over these weeks at least 3 or 4 clean sheets for Liverpool. Now, Robinson is somebody, again, as I mentioned to you guys earlier, the fixtures are a bit mixed. Manchester United, 24, I'll be playing Mikalenko. Then you have Forest, Palace, Wolves, Brighton, 29, Tottenham. That's at least a confirmed fixture as of now. And 30th is Arsenal. So the fixtures aren't as great, but again, Fulham are a good defense, and Robertson just has so much attacking potential. He can match Konate or come close with the money saving, maybe even come close to a Van Dijk. Do I really need to get rid of him? I don't know. And again, Sarr is somebody I'm looking to get rid of potentially. Palace's fixtures are Brentford at home, Manchester United, Everton, Fulham, Villa, Ipswich, and then Southampton in 30. Good fixtures, but Sarr has gone off the boil a little bit. Again, not a must sell. Quite could easily keep him through that. Now, like I mentioned with Everton, this week you probably bench them. You play them in 24, 25, not so much, 26 maybe. At 29, West Ham at home. 29 is again important, right? Because you want to buy players who ideally won't blank that week. So Everton do have a confirmed fixture in that sense. Forest also are interesting because Elanga is on my list as a midfield replacement. They have Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham, Newcastle, Arsenal, Man City. That stretch in the middle is quite tough with the Fulham, Newcastle, Arsenal, Man City fixtures. Then it gets a bit better, of course. Another player I'm looking at potentially is Utara from Bournemouth in midfield. The fixtures from 25 are just really good. Southampton, Wolves, Brighton, Tottenham, Brentford, Ipswich. But will Utara still be playing centre forward by then? Just not a very solid pick. So option number one, and please don't laugh, and I will talk about why, it's at least worth considering for a second, right? So I basically, with 1.4 million in the bank, I'm 0.1 short of going directly from Robinson to Van Dijk. So the difference between Joao Pedro and DCL is exactly 0.1. So this is an exact cash move. I'm essentially buying two doublers, and as you saw with my team layout earlier, Sarr will be my 7th attacker, and DCL just as a permanent benchy. Like you can have a look at the rotation in this slide now for Palace and Everton. So I'll be playing Sarr for every week except for Manchester United away when Everton have the double. Fulham away, that week Everton have Manchester United at home. Newcastle away when Everton have West Ham at home. Not bad, the rotation as such. I get to keep Sarr like as I mentioned. And this way the thing is, right, ideally if I'm making two transfers, I want to be using both those players in the next week. Like let's say if I do something like the next move which I have in mind. I'll come back to the Everton slide a little bit later. So I'll come back to it, I guess. Let's just do the Everton stuff. Yep. So what's interesting me about Everton now, they went to a back three in the last game, and Moyes spoke about how he wanted to get more players closer to Calvert-Lewin to afford him more chances to score. And I think he was successful in doing that. Normally when new managers go to a team, they look to shore up the defense, but in here, the defense is already pretty solid. So what Moyes is probably focusing on is improving the attack of the team. And I think he had 6 shots in the box last week, Calvert-Lewin, the highest of any player, and 3 big chances. Obviously, part of it is due to Spurs, but there is a bit of an impetus on Moyes to get Everton to be a bit more attacking, especially in their home matches, and the quote is there for you to read. He just needs to score a few more goals, get back in form, Calvert-Lewin, and just again, they need a number of chances to score strikers. So that was the first move. The other one now, I'm thinking about now this will use only one free transfer. With 1.4 million back, I can go directly Greaves to Konate and end up keeping Robinson. So this gives me a bit more depth because I don't really want to be relying on Mykolenko as my 4th defender going forward. I'll be playing Konate most weeks except 26 when he's away to Man City. Play Robinson that week, and if anything happens to Konate, I'll always have Robinson as a backup. Otherwise, I'll play Konate up till 30. But again, we spoke about Konate's potential injury issues. There's limited upside over there. I'm not as much of a fan, but it does save me that one more transfer than I would need for Van Dijk. The fixtures we already discussed. Now the third transfer is a bit interesting. Now I need to raise 0.5 to go from Joao Pedro to Gakpo. So Sarr is currently 5.8. I can afford any midfielder that's 5.3. Now if I have to go tonight, I can afford Elanga. Elanga, as we mentioned, the fixtures are a bit mixed. If I wait till Saturday, I'll probably go for Utara, who's at 5.0. So that way I can effectively afford a 5.2 mid if Gakpo does rise. And I'll have 0.2 million in change left over. So that's a bit more interesting because like I mentioned, the Bournemouth fixtures are really good. I think Gakpo, I could try him up to 25 and assess the situation after that. I don't think he will change up the team too much at Man City, for example. I do think Gakpo now will get a bit of consistent game time. So I think I could potentially ride that till 26 and assess after that. This is where I'm currently leaning, and I think I will be leaving my transfers towards Saturday, not go too early. So do let me know your thoughts. Again, Everton, don't read too much into it. It's just a thought. It's just a potential pick. I'm looking for the double with Van Dijk. It just feels like it's a bit more solidity in the team. I'm not ready to lose Sar just yet. So between this move and the move I spoke to you guys about Calvert-Lewin, I don't like the Konate pick as much. He's not my kind of player. I want some upside over there. I can feel a Van Dijk header coming. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll be back with the main pod on Friday evening. The other guys will be recording the team selection videos as well very soon. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you found it helpful. Like and subscribe and drop a comment as always. Thank you.